Hi guys, Luetin here, and today I've got my first pretty much PC Battlefield gameplay. Now, there's a lot of questions. People have been asking me a lot of questions about PC and a lot of different things for me in the channel, so I'm not going to be able to answer everything in this one video. I'm not even going to, so I'm going to address a couple of points. But also I want to just talk about the gameplay and so on as well. Now this is close quarters, you'll notice, and the main reason I've been playing close quarters is because the main thing that I needed to do immediately when I transitioned was to get used to keyboard bindings and get used to the just kind of general control feelings, movement and stuff, you know, and close quarters is the best way to do that. It's the best way to do that, as I've said before, for practicing yourself as well, mainly because it's just a great way of getting comfortable with the movement and the feeling of you know, getting used to your sensitivities, etc. Now obviously when you translate to other game modes like Conquest Rush, well, the gameplay's going to be a little bit different, but the essence of getting used to the feeling of how you move and shoot, you get much more of that obviously in close quarters, because it is all about moving and shooting, and that's why I started focusing on this first of all. Now, before we get into the mechanics of it, let's talk a little bit about my actual setup. Now, my setup is a little bit different from my sort of shopping list video that I created, alright? And I will be doing a video talking about what my setup is, and I'll show you the PC and everything like this. So that's on the way, it's to do. I'll also talk about my peripherals a little bit, etc. But just to give you a rundown on what the setup is, because a lot of people wanted to know what my final build was. So basically, I went with the BenQ monitor, the one that everybody gets. Is the I can't remember the code off the top of my head, but it's like the XL40T or whatever. It's the 120 Hz version, etc. You know, so it's a very good monitor. The system itself, I went with the i7-3770K CPU. I went with your standard 16 gig Corsair RAM, like I said in the video there. Got the Asus Z77 Sabertooth motherboard, which is a really nice motherboard. Went with, for the GPU, it's an EVGA GTX 770, the ACX version, super clocked. Alright, so real nice one there as well. Case went with the Antec P280, and then I got that 850 sort of power supply. So yeah, overall pretty happy with the build. It works. It performs extremely well. Oh yeah, a lot of people were like, how are you going to do the cooling, Luetin? How are you going to keep the cooling? Your PC is going to blow up. Like, what are you going to do? Because I didn't budget in any extra cooling, no liquid cooling, nothing to go on there for the, so it's just like the stock cooling for the CPU. And everyone's like, oh my god. Yeah, you know, it's actually fine. Exactly what I was advised. I spoke to Level Cap about it as well, and he was like, are you going to be clocking your CPU straight away? I was like, no. And he was like, your stock will be fine. So I've been running with the stock. It's not, even with like higher settings, it's not broke 50 degrees. So, you know, it could be cooler, but it's totally within acceptable levels. So, and it hasn't affected my gameplay on any of the games, Arma, Battlefield. It's not impeded on frame rate or anything like that. Frames, it's coming in really well, but I haven't done any specific tests. But in game, I've not sort of thought, Jesus, you know, it's clearly running extremely well. But again, all that kind of testing stuff, when we did the high performance benchmark tests, when we set up the machine, it came back with extremely good results, and so I don't have any concern really that it's going to be running very well. But between now and when I make my video actually talking about the build, etc, when I show in detail some images, etc, I'll do some, you know, I'll get some frame rates for you, because I know people want to see it. But I mean, you know, basically when you consider what the build is, it's going to be giving decent results, so it's all I'm concerned about. But you know, I was never concerned about having the best PC. What I did was I invested the most that I could to give me the best product that I could. And a lot of people are still going, you should get this, you should get that, why didn't you get this? And I know that you guys, there's going to be people out there who say, you should have got this, you should have got that, you should have got this, you should have got that. It's one of the main reasons that pisses me off about PC is everybody's 2p, you know? When you buy a console, that's it. You just get it, you play. When you get a PC, it's fantastic being able to upgrade it, because, you know, and you can get such a great spec for your machine. But let me tell you, just talking and getting so many people throwing in their opinions, it's a massive headache. And the whole process of setting this up was basically that. It was a massive headache. It was a pain in the ass, and it really wasn't hugely enjoyable for me. And basically what would happen is I would feel like I'd made a good choice. I'd got multiple opinions about a component that I was going to get, and then I would go and say, hey, just want your opinion on this to somebody else, and they'd be like, oh, you don't want to get that, you want to get this, and then I'm back to square one. I'm like, okay, great, now I don't know what to do. So it took a long week of me doing research, gathering in opinions from other people, and just generally getting all the info that I could. In the end, I felt very happy with the build and the setup that I got, and even if people said to me, you should have got this, you should have got this, I still bought the best that I could within the budget, okay? And again, people have asked about the setup price. I'll include that within my video when I give the proper breakdown, talking about all the different components. So that's a little bit about the build. The build was very easy. Got my friend Matt, he's extremely good at building these kind of things, putting these things together, and yeah, the build went very smoothly. I'm running on Windows 8 as well. Some people asked about what OS, whether they went 7 or 8. Went with Windows 8. Windows 8 actually suits me very well because being primarily up to this point a Mac user, 8 is much similar to that than 7, and so for me it's kind of an easier transition, feels a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to understand. But also I've got to tell you, when it comes to recording as well, the way I had to design and set up the recording for the PC, again, huge headache, massive headache. But again, I'll get into talking about that when we actually get into the whole setup, and I'll explain about that. The way that I'm recording, I'm still using my Elgato Game Capture HD, and what I'm doing is I'm sending the video and the audio out through the HDMI from the PC, and that's going out to the Elgato. Allows me to have a separate machine for recording, means it doesn't impact on the running of the PC itself when I'm gaming, so it doesn't, I don't drop any frames from that at all. It also means that you get sort of a really good editing options, and it makes my whole process of editing and creating videos that much easier, especially for content which doesn't require editing. For example, playthroughs like Fast and Light or whatever, great stuff there, because you can just export it, it's ready to go. It's got all your audio commentary all built into the file there, so it's a really nice setup. So I'm very happy with that as well. It just was a pain to sort of get that technically sorted. But anyway, so let's just talk very briefly. I've talked a lot about the setup because obviously this is the first video come in here. So all of that to come, but first up, let's just talk a little bit about the gameplay itself then, and sort of how I've been feeling with the PC. How does it feel different to the console? Well, there's quite a few things, and I'll definitely be able to go into sort of more detail about this later on to sort of explain, like I say, in more detail about every element and sort of what's to sort of look at there. But it's been kind of funny. For a start off, I was kind of frustrated. There seems to be a huge lack of more available servers compared to the PlayStation. On the PlayStation, there seems to be a ton of servers, like always loads and loads. When I've been searching for specific parameters on the PC, there's been considerably less, like really like down to sort of 5, 6 under certain things, and it's kind of surprised me actually. I was expecting there to be just as many, but as we know, the community is much smaller, so it kind of surprised me. I was expecting there to be quite a few more servers, but I say there was not, so kind of limits your choices a little bit on which games to really get into there. The other thing was the controls. When I started playing, because obviously my setup for the PlayStation is the mouse and Frag FX Chuck, so it's like a little hand thing. So moving back to keyboard was weird, but I was terrified as well that it was going to take me a super long time to get into it. Like when I started, the first day I played, man, I got destroyed. Like it was really appalling, really bad. I played a few games and I was just like, Jesus, I can't get used to the keyboard. I haven't used a keyboard for proper gaming for, I don't know, like 8 years maybe. Like it's been a proper long time since I've really used a keyboard for like this kind of style movement and key binding and stuff like that. So it took me a while to get used to it, but it's got to be said, I came back to me a lot faster than I expected. It was only about a day, because I was super worried that it was going to take me a long time. It was about a day, and I was like, wow, I'm really feeling it, and I got back into it. I'm definitely no expert yet, but I'm definitely sort of able to hold my own, and from the games that I've had here, I end up playing with In The Works and stuff. Got some games, played with In The Works Media and a couple of my other guys and stuff. Had some fun games, but yeah, I've been super enjoying it. The other thing I want to say though, the mouse control, it was actually, what I expected, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, but the recoil compensation, it's so much easier on PC. It's easy as anything. It's like liquid movement. You really can feel it. It's very different. And I always wondered this because even though I had my Frag FX mouse in PlayStation, when I used to try and control recoil for the same guns that I would see players on the PC doing, it just never was quite the same. And then when I started doing it in PC, I was like, man, this is easy as hell. The guns control very differently on PC compared to the consoles. Another curious thing there. So, but plenty to think about, guys. Thanks for watching today. Hope you've enjoyed. Drop it a like as always, and I'll see you very soon for some more sort of PC breakdowns, thoughts, and analysis. See you next time.